tundra, and it took a bit of work for us on the western slope. I brought up the fact that the Colorado compact curtailment issues were big, and that they needed to be addressed in any funding mechanism that might come from the state. And of course, my cohorts on the eastern slope said, well, the Colorado compact isn't the only compact. And so what we talked about was compact compliance throughout the state with an emphasis on the Colorado. And so, like Andy, we've been pushing very hard, or I pushed very hard. T. Wright was part of the group that said, yes, we really need to recognize that funding is going to be needed as far as compact compliance, and if we get into demand management, it's voluntary, compensated, conserved use. So I think that's probably most of where we're coming from. Certainly follow the 7 points within the water plan and the principles that the River District laid out as far as the conserved consumptive use and demand management. So I'll let it rest at that unless there's some questions or comments.
Just follow up on what Director Trampy was saying. You know, we're undertaking this integrated water management plan and the rest, going out to ag people. Somehow, and again, it goes back to Director Trampy's thing, is the ag people in my community, they're self-sufficient and they try to live off themselves, and they're not used to asking for help. And I don't know how the heck we solve that. I mean, me included. I figured I'm trying to take care of myself, and again, my personal experience, every time you ask for help somewhere, that comes with some strings attached to it and the rest. And so you all sitting there, well, was that always worth? Was that worth the situation? So I don't know, and we're trying to address it a little bit as a base, a roundtable, but I don't know. It's going to be some philosophical changes. Whether you're used to going to the dole and coming to the till, and I don't know. Anyhow, so I comment though. I just got a call from Mike Hogue, who's the county president, and dealing with stock water rights again. And Chris has been helping us with that, with Division 6. So the concern I got from him just an hour ago is the fact that now an in-stream flow that the Maybell ditch is trying to apply for. I think, Peter, you're probably aware of it. They're actually filed for the water rights where we told them to do that, but now the BLM is getting involved in it, and they're very concerned about the federal government intervention in that stock water watering right, and going from there. So I don't know.
I hadn't heard that yet. Chris and I will give Mike a call.
Yeah, and that would be great. And if you need Tom and myself to help, he thought it'd be better if it came from me or us, Tom and I, versus coming from him to you guys. But yeah, if you can follow up with him. He's concerned about precedent setting in with the BLM getting involved in the water case, whether that's a stretch on top of, and I don't know, that's what you guys are for, but whether, that's an intervention into state issues and the rest, whether that's appropriate. So, thank you.
Yeah, along your same lines there on the people helping you, and I'm concerned about the getting in bed too much with the NGOs. I've noticed the past few years down at the Colorado River Water Use Association, the greater proliferation of NGOs with some big money behind them, with objectives that aren't always open, and I've got some real concerns with that. In fact, even one friend of mine, a very strong environmentalist, folks may know him, Ken Newbecker, with TU, has been concerned over some of the monies that he is getting from some of these NGOs with what they, want from TU on this. So, I think that you need to know what folks want, and sometimes you don't always. There's going to be hidden strings as we go down the road, and that's why I'm concerned about them offering to fund a campaign for a bottle tax or something what else comes out of this?
All good points.
Yep.
Director Aquapresa.
Yeah, I've shared with a few of you that in the first week of October and going into the second week a little bit, the Grand Valley received 2.55 inches of rain. And those measurements were taken out at the airport, which is about the driest part of the valley. I think in the south part of the valley, they might have gone over 3 inches. And the bulk of that came in 3 or 4 days. And I've never seen that before in the Grand Valley. It was just terrific. And it came down very steadily. So it had an opportunity to soak in the ground. It is just what we asked for.
She delivered, did she?
Yes. You heard our call. On Tuesday, the 23rd, that's next Tuesday, Grand Valley Water Users Association is hosting a public meeting for their shareholders and to meet with representatives from the Attorney General's office. I haven't talked to anybody from water users about exactly what's going to be discussed, but I think we'll probably see the Attorney General's office sharing some of the information with actual irrigators that they have shared with us over the last month or so.
If I can maybe elaborate on that, they're doing, it's actually billing it as kind of a symposium. And they have a panel in the morning at CMU where they have Amy Haas from the Upper Colorado River Commission. They have our Attorney General's office from our state, CRWCD, and one of maybe Kevin Ryan, the state engineer, on the panel. And then there's a lunch, and then after lunch, they have a guy named Eric Kuhn presenting what phase 3 of the risk study is going to be. And right after Eric is a panel with the new general manager at the River District, Southwest general manager, Mark Harris, the operator of or Steve Anderson from Padre, Kevin McBride from Yampa, Frank Kuhl from the Gunnison, detailing the West Slope's concerns about what was said in the morning. So it's actually a really good opportunity to talk about it, and Mr. Anderson is going to be interesting wearing several hats there as our CWCD representative from the Gunnison Basin. He and I had some discussions about our requests of the CWCB, and he's going to be asked about that in public.
So that's great. This is a discussion that very much needs to happen, I believe.
And last I heard, they had at least 150 registrants, most of whom are not the traditional consultant class water policy, meeting goers. So it's real irrigators.
Right, and we have did you have something else?
Chris is wanted to chime in. Sorry.
Well, on that, I just real quickly, the agenda just came through. It's exactly as Andy described it, but if I can have you to print those out and make some copies if directors are interested.
Or email them out.
I can email it to the full board. Registration is free, parking is free, and it's at CMU.
Right.
And there is no such thing as a free lunch.
It doesn't begin until 10 a.m., so hopefully if some of you from out of town want to drive up to Junction, you'll have time to do that.
Who's planning on being here?
I'm sorry, what?
I have been planning
Oh,
to be
good,
here.
great,
What's
yeah.
the date again?
I'll be there too. I'm going to
Monday, 23rd.
This
Can
is
you send out a notice of that again?
I'll email it to everybody.
That'd be great, Chris.
and
Tuesday.
the 23rd.
with 1,700 shareholders and Grand Valley water users that got the notice on this, there could be a lot of people there. It could be standing room only, and I hope it is.
Where's it gonna be?
CMU,
Okay, CMU.
in the big new student center, in those big meeting rooms. And I have learned that the afternoon before that, Amy Haas is going to meet with a small group of students and staff at CMU in a small room. But it is open to the public, and I plan on going to that. That's at 4 p.m. on the 22nd, the day before. I don't think this was publicized. So, that'll be in the Sakamoto meeting room, which is in Woburn Hall. Pretty easy to find. You could ask anybody on campus, and they'll direct you there. And lastly, Jim Pokramp brought to my attention that the River District has received a letter of gratitude from the many different Grand Valley water entities expressing their sincere gratitude for the root eye releases, the combined root eye releases that benefited the Grand Valley so much, and that we talked about just a few minutes ago. So they, they understand the impact, the beneficial impact to the Grand Valley for those releases. So that did not go unappreciated.
Thank you. Other director concerns?
Mine's not really a concern, it's just Peter and Andy stuff. And so watch and stuff, commissioners. That was much appreciated.
If I could, on Stan's behalf, I could say that I made it down to Hinsdale County, and Stan was actually very supportive, was aware of what's going on. I will point out to any other commissioners that the Hinsdale County Board of County Commissioners meeting room has 4 pieces of art or maps on the wall. 3 of them are from the River District. So that is a challenge to all of you to see what you can do for your counties. But they do, apparently they were lacking in creativity and they put our stuff up. But there were some good maps, and if you need maps, jesting aside, if you need a map that would be helpful for your county to discuss water issues and put up on the meeting wall, we can get it. Our mapping department, as Don made reference to earlier, Dave and Mike are really great at it, and we would really encourage you to use that resource. But I have 2 more counties left, meeting with Montrose County at their Lathan meeting later this month, and I have yet to set a meeting date for this little county called Gouray County, which I hope to do shortly. Yeah.
So I have a short question. So who's up next January? And have you guys got that notice out yet? Or do we know? Or is there anybody up?
There are, yes,
Yeah,
there
people have
will be
5 up
5
every year.
positions up.
That's what I
and
thought. So anyhow,
Yeah,
would be
we will get that out here shortly, but
very good. Thank you.
When we met with the Southwest Board a few months ago here, one of their board members asked for one of the companies these maps have done, made that for them.
and they have it, and they now have it in their meeting room at Southwest.
Yes.
I'm very appreciative of that.
Yep. Good stuff, very good. They get around.
Yeah.
Any other board concerns or comments? I would just say that Andy was at Gunnison a month ago, something like that. Well received, and everything you told them has come to heart. They're paying attention. Of course, they've been very supportive all along.
They have, and I not to toot Bill's horn on this, but Bill meets with those folks all the time, and yet when I walked in that room, they knew everything about the River District. They knew exactly what we could do. They were on top of these issues. It was a very, very high level discussion about detailed stuff because of Bill's work, and I can't express too much the value of having directors. And I know you all try to do it, but meeting with your boards and getting them to understand what's going on. And if you ever need help from us as staff, please let us know. But it oftentimes comes as much better and much more meaningful if it's coming from you directly and not me. So anything we can do to help, but I do appreciate, and I think it was a perfect example of that comes at the level of understanding.
I feel it's part of the responsibility of sitting on this board.
Yeah. So this executive session you're about to enter into is required to be recorded, correct, Peter? It is. So,
But it will be a separate file, so I need to close out of this file.
so if you wanted to take a break and then come back and then convene into executive session, so you can do that.
That'd be fine. All right, take a few minutes. Let's get back as quickly as